It's 2 in the morning in Los Angeles. The building is empty. The hallways are clean. And this man who will one day run a company worth $4 billion, is just trying to get the floors dry before sunrise. He's been doing this for 3 years. Janitorial work, gas station shifts, 18, 19 hours a day. Most people in his position are just trying to survive. He was studying. In 1984, Chang opened a 900-square-foot clothing store with $11,000. His entire life savings. He called it Fashion 21. In its first year, it made $700,000. That's an extraordinary story. But here's what's more interesting, and almost nobody talks about it. The $11,000 wasn't the turning point. The name was. Chang and his wife Du arrived in Los Angeles in 1981. They came from South Korea with limited English, no connections in the industry, and no clear path forward. Just a city. Just a belief that the city was worth it. Du took 3 jobs. Janitor at night, gas station attendant during the day, dishwasher at a cafe in between. One did the same, 19 hours a day, roughly $3 an hour. There's a version of this story that romanticizes that period, that frames the long hours as noble suffering on the way to greatness. But I don't think that's honest. 19 hours a day isn't noble. It's exhausting. It's the kind of tired that lives in your joints. And it went on for 3 years. What kept one going wasn't a vision of billions. It was a simpler, sharper thing. He had noticed something. In the garment district, in the Korean-American community around him. He'd seen that people wanted affordable, fashionable clothing, and that the options were either expensive or ugly. He believed he could thread that needle. On April 16, 1984, and Du opened Fashion 21. 900 square feet, $11,000 in savings, every cent they had. The store was a hit. $700,000 in its first year. From 900 square feet. They reinvested immediately. Opened more stores. Roughly every 6 months a new location. By the late 1980s they had around 10 stores. The momentum was real. But here's what was also real. And this is the part that doesn't make the highlight reel. Fashion 21 had a ceiling. It served a community. The Korean-American shoppers of LA who recognized the aesthetic, the price point, the sensibility. And that community was loyal. But it was bounded. In the same year Fashion 21 opened its doors, hundreds of immigrant-owned businesses launched across Los Angeles. Most of them no longer exist. Most of them you've never heard of. Chang almost became one of them. Not because the product was bad, because the frame was too small. Somewhere around 1987, the exact month isn't documented, and Chang hasn't given a single detailed interview explaining this moment, the name changed. Fashion 21 became Forever 21. 2 words. 1 decision. Everything after it is different. Now you could tell this story as a marketing insight. Target a broader demographic. Capture the American teen market. Classic brand extension, and that's true. But it's not the whole truth. Think about what the word forever means. To a teenager, forever is a promise. It's the feeling that this moment, right now, this age, this energy, doesn't have to end. You can hold on to it. You can belong to it. To an immigrant, forever means something different. It means, I am still here. It means, this is not temporary. It means, I am not just passing through, I am building something that lasts. Chang wasn't just changing who the store was named for. He was changing who he believed the store was allowed to serve. That's a harder shift than it sounds. When you build something inside a community, when your first customers look like you, speak your language, understand the references, there's a comfort in that. A legitimacy. To step outside it is to risk losing the foundation while you're not sure the new ground will hold. Chang stepped outside it anyway. He looked at American teenagers, millions of them, coast to coast, with spending money and no brand loyalty and a hunger for fast, cheap, fashionable clothing. And he said, "This store is for them too." Same store, same street, different name, different belief about who it was for. Think about the last time you almost didn't do something, apply for a job, start something, walk through a door, because some part of you wasn't sure it was meant for someone like you. Not because you lacked the skill, because you weren't sure you had the permission. One Chang asked the same question. He just answered it differently. The rebrand worked. By 1989, Forever 21 opened its first mall location. By the early 2000s, more than 100 stores. By 2010, 500. At its peak in 2015 and 2016, Forever 21 operated nearly 800 stores across the globe and generated $4.4 billion in annual revenue. Somewhere between 30 and 40,000 people worked there. From $11,000, from 900 square feet on Figueroa Street. The growth strategy was aggressive. Lease large spaces that other retailers couldn't fill. Price items under $10 when competitors charged 3 times that. Turn trends faster than anyone else in the market. One Chang had learned something watching those LA garment district racks for years. The distance between a trend on a runway and a teenager's closet was mostly a distribution problem. He solved it. But the story isn't clean. It never is. In 2001, 19 workers filed a federal lawsuit alleging wages below minimum wage and sweatshop conditions. Forever 21 faced more than 50 copyright infringement lawsuits between 2007 and 2019, designers and labels accusing the brand of copying their work without credit or compensation. The business model that made Forever 21 fast also made it vulnerable to the exact criticism it had always outrun. That speed has a cost, and someone somewhere is always paying it. In February 2020, One and Do One sold the business for $81 million. That's a 98% discount from its peak valuation. The empire was gone. Most people think the story ends there. The rise, the peak, the fall. A cautionary tale about overreach. A clean moral about knowing when to stop. But I don't think that's what this story is actually about. Here's the real lesson, and it has nothing to do with money. One Chang didn't invent fast fashion. He didn't have a revolutionary product. He didn't have connections, or a business degree, or funding from anyone. What he had was a reframe. Same building. Same inventory. Same street. He just changed who he believed it was for, and in doing so, changed what was possible. That's the model most success stories bury under the more dramatic details. We wait for a different situation, a better location, more money, more time, the right moment. One Chang didn't wait for a different situation. He changed the frame of the one he was already standing in. The bankruptcy doesn't undo that. The proof was never the $4 billion. The proof was 1987, a man, a store, and a name change that said, "This is for everyone, not just the people who look like me." That decision was real. It always will have been real. No one can take back a turning point. Here's what I want to leave you with. If you've been waiting for the right moment, for the right circumstances, the right resources, the right version of yourself to finally show up, consider the possibility that the moment is already here, that it just needs a different name. One Chang didn't become someone new in 1987. He decided that what he'd already built deserved a larger belief about who it was for. You might be closer to that decision than you think. Every week on this channel we find the exact moment that changed someone's life. The decision, the conversation, the 3M realization that split everything into before and after. If that's something you want more of, subscribe. Not for the algorithm, but because the next story we're telling is one I genuinely think you need to hear. And I have a feeling your turning point is closer than you think.